Now for more on the Boao Forum, I'm joined by Henry To, live from Dallas, Texas. He's a partner and chief investment officer at CB Capital Partners. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rachelle. Great to be here.
So, Henry, as we heard there, this year's theme is globalization and free trade, the Asian perspectives. Now, globalization is clearly an issue countries around the world are still getting to grips with. So what's some of the key information coming out from the forum so far?
I think there's a general recognition, if you will, that global trade, as you mentioned, has declined. It's going to decline 2 years in a row. So it's especially important for Asian countries because Asian economic growth is so dependent on global trade. Now, the recognition is that it's not just protectionism, it's not just populism that's impacting global trade. It's really after the financial crisis in '08, the developed countries like the US, we are developing more of our manufacturing again, so we're not importing as much as we used to. And also you have to realize demographics in Europe and in the US are unprecedentedly bad, meaning that population growth is very low right now, lowest since the 1930s in the US, and also income growth is low, and the millennials, the younger generation of Americans, are saddled with so much student loans that we're not buying as many things as we used to from Asia.
Now let's also look at 3 of the signature research reports that came out during Boao. There's the development of emerging economies, Asian competitiveness, and the progress of Asian economic integration. What are some of the key highlights from these reports?
I think at least for me, the Asian integration is very interesting because when you look at how interdependent each country is right now within Asia, not just the East Asian countries, but also if you include India and also Vietnam. Now, if there's ever a trade protectionism strategy from the U.S., because factory Asia, if you will, is very competitive at producing certain things like steel products, jewelry, and electrical components. Now, if our president decides to unilaterally put tariffs on certain goods like steel or electrical components, then it just doesn't affect one country; it affects the whole region.
And you've touched on that one challenge when it comes from the U.S. So what do you see as some of the other challenges in Asian integration when it comes to trade and investment?
You know, I think living in a Western country has really made us spoiled in the sense that we all speak the same language. Now, obviously within Asia, not just within Asia, but even within a country like India and China, you have different cultures, you have different laws sometimes, you have different dialects and languages. So it's very hard to do business sometimes within those countries, and because entrepreneurs don't know the laws and the regulations in other countries. The second thing that could be detrimental to further integration is just the fact that when you start offshoring or start integrating regions, then you can start moving factories to other parts of the world. So it's the same problem that we're facing now, where entrepreneurs are going to start hiring the low-income workers in certain countries, and then you have inequality perking up again in Asia.
Now, speaking of integration, we know that technology is really kind of reshaping the growth engines for a lot of these countries. So what are some of the new opportunities and perhaps even the challenges that come with some of these technological advancements?
I think the most exciting thing for us, for our firm, CB Capital, was the fact that financial tech is so valued right now. It's not, I think something like blockchain, like Bitcoin, is very far down the road because the government needs to regulate it, especially China, and also because there are also a lot of security issues surrounding blockchain. But within the next 12 to 24 months, even, you have a lot of companies that are in this world of big data and being able to use algorithms to create credit profiles for individuals and small to medium-sized businesses within Asia. So now you have a whole population that did not have access to loans and credit that now have access to those credits and borrowing and so forth.
All right, thank you so much for your insights. Henry To there, live from Dallas, Texas, partner and chief investment officer at CB Capital Partners.